Hi guys. Today I want us to talk about Crohn's again, but this time I want to talk about it more in kind of not necessarily an abstract way, but how I deal with it, basically, in ways that aren't necessarily medically related, but just sort of mind, body, spirit kind of wholesome connection. Um, Not really touching so much on diet today, but I will probably be making a couple of more videos about diet, seeing as how I am an RD to be, and diet and what you eat is such a big part of dealing with Crohn's disease and other inflammatory bowel diseases and celiac, and the list goes on, and non-celiac gluten sensitivity, very close to my heart. So it's a very dark day outside, and I was trying to find a place to shoot this video. I sort of ran out of options, so every light in the house is on, and I hope you can see me. And I'm so sorry for this stupid nail polish. It's almost Christmas, or it has been Christmas. I'm not sure. I'm shooting this basically Christmas Eve, and yeah, I don't know when I'm posting it. So anyway, I don't know why the beginning of these videos are so rambly, but they are, and I apologize. So it's dark and sorry. um, okay, so how I deal with Crohn's. Crohn's is very much an issue no one wants to talk about. I don't want to talk about it, not to people I know, although, hi everybody, I'm talking about Crohn's today. Um, it's something you want to keep to yourself, especially when you're having a flare or yeah, you're dealing with it basically. You're in the moment and you're having a problem and you're having to deal with it. You don't want to talk about it. It sucks. So, I don't generally deal with it in a way that involves other people. So when I'm in the moment and I'm dealing with it and I have a problem and I'm like, I'm in pain, I'm in excruciating pain, and I need to be near a restroom in case this pain goes south. And so, because I'm not well versed in dealing with it myself, even though I've been dealing with it forever, it becomes a problem. And many of vacations, I believe I mentioned this in my very first video, my family and I love Disney. Hey, Max. My family and I love Disney, and so we go to Disney World and Disneyland almost once a year, one or the other. Um, and anyone who's been on a Disney vacation who does it the way my family and I do it is you go and you get as much out of that vacation as you possibly can. You are spending thousands of dollars, and that's a big deal. So you go and you go and you go and you go and you go hard the whole time that you're there, and the food is really good. Anyone who tells you it's not is lying. They're lying. It's good. Especially at Disney World when you have all those amazing restaurants. Epcot, man, that's my jam. I love being adventurous with what I eat, but I can't necessarily. And even when I think I'm kind of being safe but adventurous, if that makes sense, it can go south quickly. So my Crohn's has ruined many vacations, especially because I don't know how to deal with it well. I spoke about in my supplements video taking loperamide or Imodium on vacations, and I have taken to doing that. I've taken to doing that basically since I've been diagnosed the past 6 years, and it's helped, but you still kind of have those times where that's not enough and you have issues. So dealing with it in the moment is going to be very individual to the situation and the person. I can't really speak to dealing with that necessarily, except to make sure that the people that you're with, you don't need to get nitty gritty details, you don't need to get gruesome. Just let them know that, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, and if this situation arises, I'm sorry, and there's not a hell of a lot I can do about it, but I will try to minimize its impact on you as much as possible. And for me, as someone who deals with anxiety and depression issues and feeling like my self-worth is a little bit diminished and people aren't necessarily going to care about my problems and be super, super helpful and gracious about it, I tend to keep that on the inside, and I don't want it to become anyone else's problem. Although it does, no matter how much I try and make it my own problem, other people are affected because they're with you, and people love you, and they want to make sure that you're okay, and they don't necessarily want to leave you out of everything. But just be upfront with people. That's the best thing I can say. And in your general everyday life, I know for me, before I knew I had Crohn's, even after I knew I had Crohn's, and I would just be in a situation, not necessarily where my flare was super bad and I was, in the bathroom all day, all night, but where I had no energy. And that low energy was putting me into a depressive state. But again, we can talk about that another time. I wouldn't want to leave the house. And you could make plans with someone. You can make plans with your really great friends, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your cousin, your whatever, and that day you just feel like crap. And you have to let them know in advance that, hey, I'm dealing with this thing, and don't make it an excuse type of situation where they think, oh, yeah, you have this thing. So no matter what, whether you want to do it or you're feeling sick or whatever, you're just going to blow me off anyway. Don't make it that way. Be like, I want to do this. I'm making plans with you because this is something I want to do. But I have this situation that I have to deal with. And I'm very sorry, but I may have to cancel. Just make them aware. Don't make it an excusey thing. Don't be down on yourself. Don't make them feel bad, but just be like, this is the facts, and I'm sorry. I apologize. Be gracious about it, but lay down the law, because you can't really. It's not always up to you, I guess, is what I'm saying. And let them know that in a nice way. So that's dealing with the nitty-gritty, disgusting, terrible aspects of Crohn's. When you're at home and you're just not feeling so well and you've got these body issues going on, laying down in bed with a hot water bottle or a heater, a heating pad, sorry, is a good way to deal. Put it on your back. Generally, that's how I feel like. Basically, if you have cramps, people put them on their stomach, but really you should put them on your back. That's more helpful. The hot water bottle or the heating pad, put them on your back. That's the best. And then what I tend to do is I either turn on Netflix onto like Fantasia, or basically anything I turn on when I'm having really bad insomnia and I can't sleep. That's what I turn on. Or I have a little bit of an obsession with Bob Ross. And I think I've seen a lot of stories on the internet, and it's kind of funny because I've watched The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross for years, since I was 8 or 9 maybe, and his soothing voice is amazing. But I've seen a lot of things, especially post-election, where it's like, if you need a pick-me-up, Bob Ross it, basically. And it's true. He has a very soothing voice. He paints beautiful landscapes, pretty much never a person. You don't have to think about anyone else in your life. You can just look at nature and be like, you know what, someday I'm going to find that place and I'm going to go there when I'm feeling good. And you can be all, intrinsic about it and like introspective, sorry, not intrinsic. And, go about it that way. Or you can just zone out, really get into the rhythm of his voice and things like that. And the same thing about Fantasia, like you can really get sucked in by the beautiful colors. You know, if you can't get to sleep, get sucked in by the beautiful colors and let the music kind of wash over you and really relax. That's what I like to do at least. If I'm feeling good enough to be up and out of bed, but not necessarily leaving the house, painting and writing, that's what I love to do. Now I make these videos, although if I'm really not feeling so great, I probably wouldn't. But I'm in an okay place right now, so let's knock on wood and hope that keeps going. Other things, my dog, I love to cuddle with my dog. Dogs are the best therapy there is. Cats, bunnies, anything you can cuddle with, anything that interacts with you is really great, especially if they're soft and cuddly. Let's see. Where else was I going with this? If you're in the house, writing and painting. Writing and painting, as I mentioned, they're great. You can sit down, you don't have to be up and moving about. It doesn't take a lot of movement in case movement really sets you off. I know that I cannot lie on my right side if I'm having a lot of pain. So I tend to sit up or lay on my left side, but you don't want to always lay on one side of your body. That's not necessarily good. So if you can be upright for a while, try writing. You can get one of those, oh, I should have brought it out here, but it's like a back pillow with arms. So you can kind of lay up in bed and really, you can write that way, maybe get a lap desk. I also have one of those, it's really great. If you're super careful, you can also paint on those, but don't spill paint on your bed because then you have to get up and wash, and nobody wants to do that. That's another thing. Being very being very clean is really important. You want to shower every day, not necessarily take a bath. If you're having any kind of diarrhea or anything like that, you don't want to take a bath, but showering is very good. If you have a sore bottom, a sitz bath with like Epsom salt or baking soda can be really good. You don't want to sit in it too long, it'll dry your skin out though. Let's see. Yeah, showering is very good. If you've had a flare for like a week and you've been in bed all the time, make sure you wash your sheets and your mattress pad and your pillowcases and even your pillows, if you can get away with letting them air dry for a day or so, if you have maybe an extra pillow that you can get away with when you're feeling better and one pillow is enough instead of the whole. I have like a sea of pillows on my bed so that I can prop myself in good positions when I'm trying to sleep or when I'm not feeling so great. Outside of the home, other things that I found really helpful, I talked about acupuncture in one of my previous videos. I haven't done acupuncture for Crohn's specifically, but I've done acupuncture for back pain. And again, I spoke about in, I think, my meds video, how I'm really affected in my back and my hips. So chiropractors, very important. If your insurance covers it, especially, take advantage. There's generally a limit on how many sessions you can have in a year through insurance. So check on that before you go ham and get one every week because you'll run out. But for me especially, like I think I had back problems before I knew I had, well, definitely before I knew I had Crohn's, but my back problems were one of the most, I mean, they were a problem, it was a problem everyone could see, basically. I couldn't move. And I was, 12 years old. I was in middle school and the beginning of high school, and no one knew what was going on, but I was having these back pains to where I would cry and like my back was out and my muscles would hurt so much. And it all goes back to the arthritis that you get with this full body inflammation with Crohn's disease. In addition to chiropractic and acupuncture for back pain and cramping and muscle problems, massage. So you can get the massage for the physical benefits. That's great. I do that as well with Crohn's and with endometriosis and these back problems I've had since I was very young. Massage is amazing. You can get a prescription for it from your doctor, at least in Washington State and with the insurance I have. If you get your doctor to write you a prescription for massage, you can get it covered by your insurance. Again, there's a limit on it, so don't go ham. And these alternative therapies I'm talking about, the massage, the chiropractic, and the acupuncture, generally there's a limit on all of them as well. So you can spend all of your limit on one sometimes, or each individual therapy has a limit, and then there's a limit total, if that makes sense. So make sure you check out your insurance if you have it. I hope you do, and see what benefits you have. So that's like physical aspect, but mental aspect for relaxation purposes, one of the only ways I have found myself completely able to disengage my mind and body is through massage. So if you find a massage therapist in a massage environment that really works for you, that's amazing. I had a masseuse who I loved dearly, and she left the practice, and that saddens me a lot. um, but I will find another one, and if I have to pay out of pocket, I will. Whew, that's going to be insanely expensive, but I think going back into school, I know that massage is something that's very important to me and my well-being, my mental and physical health. So it's a sacrifice I'm going to have to make. I know, massage is a sacrifice, but when it's that expensive, it's a sacrifice. Um, Other things that I do to relax, besides my Bob Ross and Fantasia and other various things on Netflix and YouTube, um, lying on a flat surface, completely flat, it relaxes your back and it sort of gives your body a different alignment for a little while. Sometimes that can really help if you're flaring, if you're not flaring. Sorry, I just bumped the camera. Let's see. What else? I feel like there's so much that I want to talk about of things that didn't work for me. With the anxiety and depression and the Crohn's and the physical amount of pain, um, there were a lot of things that haven't worked for me. Talk therapy is great. You don't need to necessarily have a mental illness to go to therapy. I know when I was first diagnosed with Crohn's, it was recommended to me by my disability office to seek therapy. And it's kind of like a grieving process. For me, I wasn't such a grieving process. It was very bittersweet because I finally knew what was going on. But then you're saddled with this lifelong thing where, 2/3 of people end up having surgeries, and, it's not 2/3 to 80%, get my facts right, end up having surgeries and then repeat surgeries. It's a lot to look at for your future, especially when you're very young, which a lot of people who are diagnosed with Crohn's disease are. They're somewhere around college age, which I was. Turns out I'd had it a lot longer, but anyway. It's hard. So, therapy. Don't knock it till you try it. If you really feel like it's not going to work for you, then don't try. But if you even think, well, maybe, then, try it once. It doesn't hurt. And if you go to therapy with one therapist and you don't necessarily like them, but you like the idea of talking about things and getting someone's feedback or not, or just being in a safe space where you can talk and vent and rant and whatever, try and find someone else because there's a therapist for everyone and not every therapist is going to work for everyone. So that's therapy. I have been in therapy, not currently. I probably will be again when I go back to school, and it's covered 100%. Therapy like massage is expensive, but if it works for you, sometimes you just have to find a way to make it work if at all possible. Walking walking doesn't seem like a therapy, but for me it is. Digestion, you don't want to run, you don't want to swim, you don't want to do anything strenuous when you're trying to digest, but a lot of people go for walks to help their digestion, and that's great, and it can really help. I go for walks to clear my mind. I go for walks with one of my best friends, where we rant and talk and walk up to 5 miles in 2 hours, and it's great, and you're not pushing yourself, but you're getting exercise. Um, get a Fitbit. There's a Samsung Gear Fit something or other. There's a ton of Garmin fitness trackers or fitness tracking bands. There's ones that aren't bands. Misfit makes one that goes on your shoe as like a pedometer. TomTom, I don't know if I mentioned that, Garmin. So think GPS, and that'll get you to one if you don't want to go the Fitbit route. Just something that lets you know that you're moving, because it's very easy with depression and anxiety and chronic disease to not move. And that is not good. Exercise is incredibly helpful. The other exercise I really like, I've tried to get into yoga. I'm going to try again because I really feel like it could be helpful. But if you want to do something that's maybe a step up from yoga, and feels a little bit more exercisey, but without really, really pushing yourself, Pilates is amazing, especially a Pilates class with an instructor that really keeps it very anonymous, and just lets you kind of be you and do what you can, is really amazing. I took Pilates for the first time in college in like 2010, I think, and I loved it. So I continued to do it for a while. I'm not doing it currently, but I'm going to try yoga next. And then if I still don't get into yoga, like if it's not for me, then I'm going to go back to Pilates. And I really think that's going to help me in my mental state when I'm back in school, and also physically. So if you find something that really helps you relax, some people it's video games. You start playing a video game and you can really zone out of your mind and your body, and as long as you don't completely lose track of time, then go for that. I mean, try it. It doesn't hurt. Um, Anything that really helps you, especially if you're in pain. I have learned really well through endometriosis and Crohn's disease and the arthritis to dissociate from pain unless the pain is in my head, like a toothache or an earache or a migraine, because, oh, Jesus, or TMJ, um, oh, love you, or TMD, they call it now, temporomandibular joint dysfunction. Unless it's in my head, I've learned to really dissociate from pain, and I can tell myself enough that it doesn't hurt. And then if I can get into doing something that, allows me to keep that mantra, this doesn't hurt. Still hurts, but you're not like excruciating in a ball on the floor crying pain. To a point where you can manage it, I guess is what I'm saying. Then find something that allows you to keep that dissociation going, so you're not, sitting there living your pain. Anything that helps lessen it is great. And as I mentioned in my medication video as well, you really have to be careful about the pain management supplements that you use. Willow bark, aspirin, any NSAIDs are not good for you if you have Crohn's or any bleeding disorder. So any non-drug form of pain management is a good way to go. And I think that's all I wanted to say. Find something you love and really cultivate it to be something you can do while you're not feeling well, and that will really help with the physicality and the mental state. It's really important to make sure that you're taking care of your body and your mind, your emotions, and all of that. And I know that sounds really corny and like hippy dippy, but it is incredibly important because your mind plays an incredible role over dictating how your body feels and what it does. And while we have these diseases and disorders that we can't just, will ourselves out of. We are in a position to temper them to a place where we can manage. So that's my best advice. I'm sorry this video was incredibly long. I sat down and I was like, okay, 10 minutes. I'm going to talk about Bob Ross a little. I'm going to talk about Pilates and walking. And then it turns into this 25, 26-minute video. But I hope it's helpful. Please share this with anyone you think it will help. And it's not just for people with Crohn's disease or IBD, but for anyone with illness, mental, physical, anyone that just, feels down and they need maybe some tips on getting out of their despair. That sounds terrible. But just a way to step out of yourself for a moment and really, really relax and just let things go. And then generally after you've had a relaxing session, things don't look so bad on the other side. So have a great day, guys, and I'll see you next time.